Hi, I'm Pam Dempsey, Executive Director of the Midwest Center for Investigative Reporting, here with Jonathan Hedinger, who is now covering, starting week 3 of the lawsuit against Bayer and BASF over damage to the largest peach farm in Missouri. The Bill Bader alleges that the pesticide dicamba has harmed a large number of trees. Jonathan, so what happened today? We're in week 3. This is day 11, correct?
Yes, Bader Farms wrapped up their test or their case today. They just had a few documents that they read into the record, and they were invoices from Monsanto or from BASF to Monsanto for royalties on seed sales. So BASF got paid for every bag of seed that got sold in 2000, I think every year. So they wanted to establish that in order to establish a joint venture between Monsanto and BASF. But the big news from today was that Monsanto started its defense, and they basically ended their defense. They had two expert witnesses, Wayne Mitchum, who is a extension specialist at North Carolina State University, focusing on herbicides and fruit trees in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Georgia, and Dr. Philip Brannon, who's a plant pathology professor at the University of Georgia. So Mitchum focused on whether Bader's trees had been exposed to dicamba, and he said in his experience they had not been exposed to dicamba. That in the research that he's seen conducted and done himself, if you spray a peach tree with dicamba, its terminal buds will start to die back, which a terminal is just the end of a branch or twig or something, and that there was no evidence of the trees doing that in this case. And so he didn't really think that there was any dicamba exposure. And so then Dr. Philip Brannon said that basically he thought that a soil disease or fungus called Armorillia root rot was the cause of all the death at Bader's farms. Um, he just said that it's a common fungus throughout the South. It's been present in southeastern Missouri for a long time, and he presented satellite imagery to show that it looks like Bader's farm is usually dying in the same places every time, which kind of showed over the past few decades, and that kind of shows the presence of that in the soil. So those were their two experts, and they said that they're plan to rest their case after presenting a few exhibits tomorrow, which, based on what they carried in, seemed to be a bag of seed or two bags of seed and a little tank of Extendamax.
Wow, it sounds interesting, really, really interesting today. So what can we expect the rest of the week?
So BASF will start their defense tomorrow, um, and after that, they said that their plan is to wrap up by Thursday morning or so. Judge Limbaugh got pretty frustrated today with the attorneys from everywhere, but mostly Monsanto, for all of the paperwork that he's had to go through lately. They filed a 45-page motion for a directed verdict on Friday that he had to spend the weekend going through, and then and then he told them that he didn't really want them to do oral arguments, and then they still spent half an hour doing oral arguments today, and so he said that he might need a day to go through all the paperwork between when BASF rests and when they do closing arguments. But I would still expect closing arguments to be sometime this week, because Judge Limbaugh keeps telling the jury that this is probably the last week. So
Can you just real quick, briefly explain directed verdict?
yeah, so basically it's just when when the defendants say that the plaintiff didn't present enough evidence in their case that any reasonable jury could possibly find that they were guilty. So he said that there was enough evidence on every charge except for the negligent training charge, which Billy Randall's agreed to withdraw anyway on behalf of Bader Farms, which is just focusing on whether Monsanto properly trained its employees in this case. But they did keep all the main charges, which are about the just the release of the system and knowing it's volatile and things like that. And he said that there was enough evidence for all of those charges and for the joint venture charge, especially with what was read this morning.
So enough evidence to go to a jury, to have a jury decide.
At this point, they'll file a motion for summary judgment probably at the end of all of it. But yes, I'm sure it will go to the jury on at least some of the charges.
Great. Well, thank you so much. We'll catch up with you tomorrow.
Thanks.